Hello, guys. Welcome back to Reinvented. And today, do I say your name, Alma?
Yes.
All right. And today I have Alma today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Minister Alma Thomas. I am a motivational speaker. I am I'm a teacher by vocation. I'm an author. If you're wondering why I'm laying in this bed, it's not because I'm sleepy, I'm tired, or I forgot about this meeting. It's because I suffered a massive stroke in 2021, and currently I am bedridden. So the reason why I'm laying down is because of the stroke that I had.
Is like, if you don't mind me asking, like being bedridden, is it like, did they say it was going to be like, for the rest of your life or like,
Well, originally the doctors diagnosed that I would never walk again, but through faith, I believe that I'm going to walk again. And recently, I started physical therapy again. And the parts of my body I couldn't move at all a year ago, now I'm slowly regaining mobility in my right side.
is it like, do you feel like you're making like slow progress or like I guess some people would call it fast progress.
I feel like I'm making slow um progress because, like I said, originally when I had the stroke, I couldn't move at all. I was in excruciating pain and I couldn't move my legs at all. And for someone to help me move them, they were so heavy, like dead weight. But now for the last 3 weeks I have been getting therapy again, and the therapist is saying that it's promising because I can still move my leg, I can lift it up on its own. So I'm making slow progress, but slow and steady wins the race.
And when you had your stroke, was it do you think it like affects how you like your mindset now?
Um, Not right now because I'll tell you a little bit about it. Um, when I first had my stroke, it was a massive stroke and they didn't expect me to live through the night. They called my family and told them if they wanted to see me alive again, that they had to get to the hospital. The second night I was in the hospital, the nurse came and said, do you want me to hold your hand while you transition? And I was like, no. And she was like, like maybe I wasn't accepting the fact, or but she didn't know that I only wanted prayer warriors and people who had the faith to touch me. She was already speaking death, and I didn't feel like I have a relationship with God, and I know that this is not our home. One day we all have to make that journey. But I feel that when you're in contact with God, you pray to Him, you talk with Him, I feel that He would give you some kind of sign or something that this is the end. I didn't feel that. And I have asthma, and when I get an ordinary cold, I struggle to breathe. And they're saying that I'm breathing at 10%, but I didn't feel it. My chest wasn't heavy. It didn't feel like an elephant was sitting on my chest. To me, I was breathing normally. So, that's why I was like, no, I don't want you to hold my hand because I didn't believe that I was going anywhere. And now I still believe that I'm gonna walk again. I understand that it's a process. So I have to trust the process. But after all the bad chapters I've had in my life, if you read my story, you know that in 2009 I lost my son. No parent ever can imagine that they're gonna bury their 18-year-old child uh um even before them. It's our natural desire that our children bury us, not us bury them. And so that was a very, very dark period in my life. As a matter of fact, he died on February 13th, 2009. On April 17th, 2009, I was going to take my life because I was thinking naturally, like, it's my son's birthday. I wonder if anybody's saying happy birthday in heaven. I wonder if my grandma baked him a cake. Those natural things that you're thinking. And I put all my blood pressure pills in my hand, and I was gonna take my life, but I heard a still small voice whisper, if you do it, you'll never see him again. And I put down the pills, and that's the day I decided that I couldn't just survive. I had to give myself permission to live again. I had to turn my pain into a passion. So I started a scholarship in my son's honor. And up to date, I've given out 17 scholarships to African American boys who want to go to college to pay for their books, their transportation, or whatever. So I feel that that day helped me get a better grip on life. So because I went through the loss of my son, everything else along the way, even though it was sad chapters, but I already dealt with the worst thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, to me, losing my child was the worst thing. So when I had the fire and the complex got condemned, when I got married, um trying to fix that void in my life and got divorced, and then into 2021 to have a massive stroke, you're looking like, how does she continue to go on? How does she continue to have the faith? And that's what it is, that I still have the faith. I believe that there's still a plan and a purpose for my life. I'm still chasing my dreams. Before I had the stroke, I wrote two solo books, Dream Killers and From the Waiting Room to the Recovery Room. And I'm a part of a number of anthologies. After my stroke, I've written two books that are with the publisher right now, and I'm continuing to speak and to inspire people that no matter what you go through in life, don't throw in the towel, don't give up. I compare my life to the circus clown. You know, the circus clown that you throw a ball at it and it goes all the way down, and just before you are able to claim the grand prize, the clown jumps back up again. Well, they put something in that clown that makes it bounce back. Well, I have something in me that no matter what I go through, I bounce back. At the end of each chapter, I don't close the book and say the book is over. I open the book of my life, the my life is the book, and I open it to the next blank page, and I start the new chapter all over again. Not giving up, not giving in, not giving out, but just continuing to chase my dreams.
And with like all that's happened, do you think that like made you like maybe better author and like when getting your books published?
It made me a better author because I write about real life things that I'm going through. Like, for example, in my book Dream Killer, I was writing from the waiting room to the recovery room. I was trying to write that book for years because that book started when the doctor came into the waiting room and said we did all we could do. We couldn't save him. So that book started there and I could never finish that book. So in the summer of 2016, somebody asked me to write an article for a magazine. So I was just gonna brush up something I had, but God dropped into my spirit dream killers. So I was like, what do you mean by that, God? And he was like, along you have not been able to write from the waiting room to the recovery room because you're still in the waiting room. You haven't recovered yet because you allowed people, places, and things to kill your dreams. So once I began to identify the things that were keeping me stagnant and not able to write that book from the waiting room to the recovery room, I began to write that book and finish it in a little over a week. A week after I published Dream Killers, I published from the waiting room to the recovery room because it was so much easier to write it once I identified the things that were killing my dreams.
And with like being a author, what is like your main thing you want people to take away from your books?
What my books are inspirational. So the main thing that I want people to take away from my book, my life, is that bad things do happen to good people. That it the just as well as the unjust. Every day is not going to be sunny, but don't give in, don't give up, and don't out whatever dream you have inside of you. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of writing a book. I used to always say, I want to write a book, want to write a book. And people, when they saw me, they were like, did you write that book yet? Write that book yet? So, what I would want to leave with people is chase your dreams. You're never too old as long as you have breath in your body. You're too old to go after your dreams, whatever it is. If you want to go back to school, go back to school. You want to buy a new house, you want to write a song, whatever you want to learn how to ride a horse, whatever it is that you desire to do in your life, do it. Don't die with your purpose. The cemeteries are full of lost dreams and lost hopes and lost visions because people died with their purpose. Died.
And what do you like? What would you like tell someone who doesn't maybe like want to think about their purpose in life?
That in order for you to really live a fulfilled life, you need to find out what your purpose, what your why is. So my why was my children. My why now that's still living to show her that she can overcome any obstacle. She can soar above her. So that's the same thing that I want people to realize. Don't die with your inside of you. You would live a much more fulfilled life if you were doing the thing that you were
And how do you tell someone like go out and find what your purpose is?
what is that you can't shake? That thing that you desire to do the most. Some people have rocked their desire to sleep because they felt like give them whatever that thing is that keeps you awake at night, whatever that thing is that your birth desire, what would you be able to do in life that doesn't feel like work? Like when I write, that doesn't feel like work. That's therapy for me. So when I used to work with children, love children. So going to work wasn't like work, it was fulfilling my purpose
And how do you think someone should fulfill their purpose?
by doing whatever it is that they dream of or desire to do, that thing that why, that thing that keeps you going, that thing that just make you money, but it makes you fulfilled. So it doesn't have to be writing a book. It can be a book or in out your dreams. That's all I can say. Living out your dreams. Once you know your purpose in life, what keeps you going? Children keep you going, and you want to leave something for your children, then you would want to live out your purpose for your children.
And like if someone were to tell you like, well, I don't like believe in fulfilling your purpose. What would you say to someone who like said that?
I would say, like, why don't you believe in your purpose? Because your purpose is what's gonna satisfy you. And a lot of times in life, go through life trying to fill that void, and what that void is sometimes our person while we're here.
And like if since you've said like that, it's why we're here. What like have you ever had anyone try to like counteract that?
Um, no, not really. I've never um, been in a situation because no matter what people's higher power is or what they believe, purpose is different than that. So even an atheist has a purpose in life.
And what
Why that keeps them.
let's see. So when it comes to purpose in life, you don't mind me asking, what do you think yours is?
My purpose in life is to inspire and motivate people. Like I don't feel like this stroke that I went through was for me or punishment. I did, but I feel like the stroke that I went through encouraged somebody else that no matter what they go through, they can still live their dream. Like my dream is I love writing, and even though my writing hand is the hand that was affected, because I love writing so much, I found other ways in which to publish my, like I write my books on my phone, and then I send them to an editor to correct any mistakes. But I could have, if writing wasn't my purpose and inspiring people wasn't my purpose, I could have given up. I could have chose to be bitter and mad, excuse me, and mad about my condition. But I chose not to be bitter and to inspire people. There's people in life that don't have faith. There's people in life that uh, maybe never heard of what they don't know why they're here. That they're just you know living, but they don't know why they're living. But I know mine is to motivate and inspire other people people that had a stroke as massive as I did, a lot of them, their cognitive skills was affected, their language skills was affected. My language skills was the first thing to come back, and my cognitive were never affected. Tried to um say that maybe I understand, but when they tested me, they saw that according to research that I understood, so my cognitive were never affected, so I can still let people know that just because you have bad chapters in your life, you don't have to give up. And you don't have to dig deep inside of you, find that determination and that perseverance go on.
And what qualities do you think you had that made made you like not bitter about any of the situations that happened?
I think because one of the things, my faith, um, like I don't look at anything negatively, but I look at it as positive things that happen as a way for them to be positive. Like, okay, I can't um walk now, but I can still use my mouth. I can still use my mind. So I was positive, and I don't worry about things that I can no longer do temporarily, but I embrace the things that I can still do.
And like what would you tell someone who I think maybe continues to remain bitter and, I guess kind of like victim blames himself?
Right? That's one thing is forgive yourself. And after my son died, I used to feel guilty laughing or um going to a party and enjoying myself. I had to give myself permission to live again. I had to forgive myself for whatever I thought I was the cause of. So people have to learn how to forgive themselves and realize that nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have failures. We all have rejection, but we can't internalize those things.
And how would you like tell someone not to like internalize the negative thoughts?
Because if you, there's things in life that we can't do nothing about. It's just like we complain about the weather. We complain, you know, we complain it's hot, but there's nothing do about the weather. If it's gonna snow, it's gonna snow or whatever. So if you're so busy concentrating on the negative, you won't enjoy the life that you have left. Life is short. You don't want to spend it in negativity, focusing on those things that you cannot change. Some things in life that you can change, you can do things about, but then other things that you can't change. So it's no need of me worrying about these legs when they move, because if I concentrate on the fact that I'm not able to move, then you become depressed and anxious and all those negative things, and you feel like you have no reason to wake up in the morning. But if you have a positive outlook and embrace things that you can still do, find something that you like to do and concentrate on that. If you have a support system and a family that supports you, concentrate on that. If you have good friends, concentrate on that. If you can still sit up, concentrate on that. If you can still talk, concentrate on that. Don't concentrate on the negative, but accentuate the positive.
And how would you like tell someone to keep moving forward in their life and finding their purpose?
That Martin Luther King once said, I want to get it right. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. As long as you keep moving. So even I celebrate the small progress I make. Like when I couldn't kick my leg up, and now I can kick my right leg up a little bit. I celebrated that because that was something I do before. So as you make small progresses, celebrate those little accomplishments. Because what might be little to somebody else take for granted, you don't take the granted now. It's just like I used to always be a procrastinator. I was a big procrastinator. And after my stroke, um, I realized that tomorrow is not promised. So the things that you say we got to put off till tomorrow, we don't know if we're going to tomorrow. If we're going to be here tomorrow, we don't know what state. So whatever it is that you have in your heart to do it now. Don't put it off for another day, but live each day like it's your last.
And how would you like how would you tell someone to like live like the day like it's their last?
Exactly like that. Then, in order for you to appreciate life, live each day like it's your last. Like not gonna be tomorrow. So whatever it is that I have to do or that I want to do, I have to do it now because I don't know how much time I'll have to do it.
And with like let's see, I'm trying to like see what kind of phrases here. What do you when like someone asks you like how your like mindset is on like, you know, moving forward, finding your purpose? What's like one piece of advice you'd give them?
That I look at everything in a positive light. Even those things that might be negative, I look at them positive way. Um, that's how I discovered my why because I found that when I'm trying, I was inspiring people and motivating people by them just looking at me in this condition and still doing um the things that I've dreamed of, and they might have had a rainy day or had one bad chapter and just threw in the towel and given up. And I inspire them that if they can do it too. Like there's
And
different. There's nothing that I have inside of me that they don't have inside of them.
and did you do you have like someone you look up to you know, as like kind of a motivator?
Um, I look up to my mom. She was a single parent. She had 5 kids, and she always made a way. There was always food on the table, clothes on our back. That as a parent, in the 60s and 70s, she made a way and she pushed education, and we all graduated from high school, went to college before we had our kids. So I really look up to my mom because she's the one who taught me how to be strong and resilient among adversity and not to give up. That everything is not gonna be perfect the way you want it, but you can make it um as perfect as it can be.
And like do you like try to see if like other people can find that like maybe one person or one thing to be like their motivator in life?
Yes, that other people can look inside of them and find out what makes them happy. Um what you sometimes you have to look deep inside because we're so conditioned to look at the negative, and sometimes the truth of the matter is, and sometimes you may have to speak to a therapist or get a life coach and someone to lead you and to guide you into finding that purpose.
Let's see. And like, do you think with your books, do you think they've given like the right message and like what you had hoped for them to bring out?
Yes, because especially dream killers, because I wanted people to identify those things that might be killing their dreams, because there's intentional dream killers and there are unintentional dream killers. Feelings of low self-esteem and doubt that stems from your childhood can kill your dream. That if you don't allow that little girl that lives inside of you to heal and move on, you will always come back to that vulnerable spot in your life that triggers you.
And how do you like think people should stay away from like their triggers?
Their triggers
Kind of like maybe the things that like trigger them to be in that negative mindset.
that once you realize what your triggers are, that I think that for me and what I advise the people that I help ghostwrite their books, to journal and write down how you feel. What were you doing that made you feel that way? What happened that um made you feel that way? And once you can um identify your triggers, then you can do self-talk and talk your way down out.
And how do you like tell people to kind of talk themselves out of it? Like, what I guess what I'm saying is, what is their next step after like maybe journaling?
And then once you it's just like with a child, that there's certain things that trigger a child, and once you know what your triggers are, if they happen, then you recognize them and you practice the self-care that you were taught in order to bring yourself out. It's just like if you used to tell people off and people calling you a liar triggers you. But if you know you're not lying, you don't have to defend yourself. So you know that once that trigger happens, somebody calls you a liar, to walk away because you no longer have to defend yourself. So whatever your trigger is, you try to stay away from that thing that causes you um to have those negative thoughts and feelings about yourself.
And how do you like tell someone to practice like self care?
First of all, to love yourself. If you can't love yourself, then you can't love no one else. You'll spend your whole time searching for love in all the wrong places, because you're trying to fill that void. You might be trying to fill that void by eating or smoking or drinking or having sex. However you try to fill that void. So once you realize what that void is, what you lack from your childhood, are you looking for a daddy figure? And you understand that parents are imperfect, and whatever they did in that time, they did because they thought they had to. If you went through childhood abuse, you are not the cause. You are the victim. Forgive yourself. It's nothing that you could have done to prevent it. That person was sick. That person needs some healing. Somewhere in their life, they need some healing.
And how do you like tell someone who, like is kind of maybe recovering from like, oh, okay, it's not my fault. Like they're still kind of in that like denial stage of saying it is my fault even though it wasn't.
Right? I think that in life, not just from losing someone, but from a lot of things in life. We go through the stages of grief, and we don't go through the stages of grief like one, two, three, I'm in denial. Three, I'm angry. I'm depressed now. I'm in this acceptance. We don't. We go back and forth between you know it's not your fault, you think it's your fault. You know it's not your fault. And the main thing, I think that I don't know if I said it, that a lot of people need to speak to a therapist, somebody that's trained to lead and guide them. I know, especially in the African American community and church, that therapists and mental health is considered taboo. So there's a lot of people walking around at subway stations pushing people into onto the track because nobody never wanted to deal with the fact that they had a mental issue. And if you go to church, they'll say, "Oh, you're demon possessed. Throw some oil on them, and they'll be all right." But sometimes it's okay not to be okay. When my son passed away, I had to go to the EAP program at my job and speak to a trained professional because I was silently hurting on the inside. Everybody was telling me how strong I was, but I really wasn't strong, and I was dying on the inside. So I had to talk to a trained professional, and that's what some people have to do, is talk to a trained professional to work out their triggers. And some people, um it's not no quick fix. They may have to go for years. They might have to call their person up and say, "Look, I want to jump off the building right now." And they have to talk them off the ledge. So it's okay not to be okay. And if you need medicine, take your medication, because mental health medication is just as important as high blood pressure pills, diabetes pills, cholesterol pills. So sometimes you might just need um a little more help.
And like, how do you think people should, maybe change their mindset of like, or I guess even like society, like change the way we think of, oh, they're so strong, they're fine. Like, how do you think as a society it should change?
Because those are the people that we need to check on. Those people that we are saying are so strong, maybe they don't feel like they have somebody to talk to. Maybe they don't want to appear weak and vulnerable. So those are the people that you have to check on. The people that you always are saying is so strong, because they might look like they're strong on the outside, but on the inside, they're going through some internal struggles. Just like, um, say, take Robin Williams, for example. He was making millions of people laugh, but he was sad himself and didn't feel that he could share that with anybody.
And like, kind of the same going the other way. How do you think people should like ask for help?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't care about when it comes to your mental health and your stability. Don't worry about what people think because, like I said, when I went to a therapist, I'm a ordained minister. I have a position in the church, but I didn't care what people thought. I knew that people thought, okay, if you gotta go see a mental health specialist, you're crazy. You don't really need the medication. But I don't care about the opinions of people. I cared about my health. I cared about getting better. That I didn't want to be stagnant in any of the stages of grief and do more harm than good. So we have to get out of that thinking about the opinions of others, that people are going to talk about us. They'll talk about you whether or not you go to a therapist. So you just have to decide that you don't care what people think, that your health is your number one priority.
And then how do you think like everyone could work together like on both sides, like the people who are like, oh, they're fine, or and like the people who aren't fine. How do you think like they could mesh and work together?
By being honest, having an open, honest communication, that if you're not strong, say I need some help. And for others to be accepting of people who you consider strong and you find out that they're not strong, be accepting of them. Be in their corner. Don't talk about them. Don't kick them when they're down. But lend a hand, lend a ear, lend a shoulder. Sometimes people just need to, you don't have to say a word. They just need someone to listen to them.
And how do you like think people should like listen? Like if someone like comes and tells you their problem, how do you think people should listen?
Just listen. And if they don't have the solution, give them a recommendation, give them a resource of something that they can use. Tell them it's okay to go see a trained professional, that I can listen to you, but I don't know what to tell you to do. So I suggest you go talk to your job's EAP program, or go to a mental health therapist. Nowadays, you don't even have to go to the office. You can speak to them virtually until you're comfortable um with that. But I would just advise them to get help. Don't be afraid to get the help you need based on the opinions of others.
And how would you like tell someone not to like be offended by someone else's opinion?
That opinions are like buttholes. We all have one. So people are always gonna have their opinion of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But until you walk in someone's shoes, you can tell them, "Oh, I wouldn't do that. I would never do that." But when you walk in you never walked in that person's shoes, then you don't know what you would do.
And like would what would you like tell someone who's like apparently I who hasn't been in that person's shoes, maybe like not to judge them?
That you don't judge people. It's not up to us to have mini me's running around. Everyone is different, their ability is different, but everybody is unique in their own way. So just because a person doesn't believe like you believe, you all can agree to disagree and go on and still have a friendship, still talk to each other, that whatever people are doing, it's not your job to judge them. You're not the judge and the jury.
I think I got two more questions for you. Do you have any like favorite like podcasts maybe you listen to that are either motivational or that you I guess just like listening to?
Um, well, I listen to a lot of podcasts because I am a podcaster too. Um, but who motivates me? Um, I think that what I listen to for motivational is people like Les Brown and Cindy Trim and Miles Monroe. People like that I listen to for inspiration and motivation.
And then the last question I have for you before we end, where can people find you? Like either you can do social medias, websites, whatever people can find you.
Okay, people can find me on Facebook at um Alma Thomas or either Alma Thomas author ministry page. Those are two. And Instagram, I'm on Instagram 8:30. I'm right now in the process of revamping my website. So I will have a new website in 2 to 3 weeks. But most of all, if you can reach me on Facebook, Alma Thomas on Facebook.
All right, I think that is all the questions I have for you today. Did you want to end with anything, like quotes, anything you want to end on?
Okay, what the last thing that I would like to say is don't give up on you. Um, love yourself because before anyone else can love you or you can love anyone else, you have to love yourself. Whatever you've been through in life, forgive yourself. Yesterday is over. It's just like if you drive a car, you can't move forward, always looking behind in the rear view window. So look ahead, look forward. Don't concentrate on the negative things, but look at the positive things. If I learned anything through my life, is never give in, never give out, and most of all, never give up.
All right. Thank you for being on today, and thank you guys for watching Reinvented. And I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.